Hi everyone, it's Maureen here from Crochet Cavalier. It's been a while since I've had a chance to make a video, so I just wanted to pop in and have a little chat with you. Just a bit of a catch up today, and also a little bit later I'll do a small tutorial of something that I want to show you. I've had a lot of questions about some of the tutorials that I've done and about yarn and things like that, so I just wanted to have a chat about those. So yeah, I haven't been making videos for a little while, just had some, my husband and I both had the flu, and we've just had a few other health things that we've needed to work through. And so this is my first chance that I've had to make another video, but I really appreciate all your comments and people that have reached out and asked when I'm going to make another video and that you enjoy catching up with me doing this. So thank you so much, because I really enjoy making the videos and sharing some time with you. So as you can see, I've got a stack of different yarny projects and yarn here in front of me I'm going to be talking about today. And yeah, I'm working on, this is probably the first time I've worked on so many different projects at one time. I usually stick to one and try to finish it, or have one on the go and something else on the side, you know, in case I get a little bored. But at the moment I'm working on lots of different things. I don't know why that's happened, but it just has. So I'll just fill you in on what I've been working on. I have been keeping busy with my crochet. And so I'm going to start off with talking about my yarn dyeing. So as you know, I did dye some yarn up, and I was last year hoping to be able to sell that yarn, but it just hasn't happened at the moment because I've had some health issues that I've had to deal with. So to dye yarn at the moment and be able to sell it is just a bit beyond me. So I've been just dyeing yarn for myself at the moment for my own projects, and I'll show you what I've been making out of that. I think I did show you this when I started it. So I was making a cushion cover out of it, or a blanket, but that's as far as I got. So I was able to make one side of the cushion, and I haven't yet dyed up enough yarn to be able to make the other side. So there, you can see that's quite a big cushion size. But yes, I haven't actually dyed the other side. So one side of the cushion is finished, and the other one will have to wait until I can get some more of these colours, because I actually ran out of all these oranges and yellows with my yarn dyeing. So yeah, once I get that done, I will be dyeing some more of that up. So one of the questions that I did get about my sunflower or sunburst, I think they call it a Sunburst Granny Square. And I made a cushion many years ago, probably about 10, 15 years ago, with that Sunburst Granny Square design. So that's when I first learnt it. And so then I made my sunflower cushion with the yarn that I had dyed, which was in these yellows, and you remember I made a green one. So this cushion here is just basically leftover yarn that I had from those cushions, and then a peachy one my daughter made, had a bit of yarn left over from that too. So as I said, I've run out of those colours. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, so people did a couple of comments that I got, which was really appreciated, and thank you so much for those of you who said that they liked the yarn and that the cushion looks so much nicer with hand-dyed yarn. And so I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, not everyone can have access to dye their own yarn, and then not everyone, perhaps it's in their budget to be able to buy hand-dyed yarn, because that's what I was finding. I was buying hand-dyed yarn a few years back, and it's just, yeah, it can get very expensive. So that's why I wanted to start dyeing my own. But I just wanted to show you today, and that's the tutorial I'm going to make, is that even if you don't have access to, you know, beautiful hand-dyed yarn that's variegated like this, there are other options, and you can still make something that is just as beautiful with more economical yarns that you can find wherever you live or in your area, or even plain yarns. I mean, you can make anything beautiful. It's just a matter of, you know, using our imagination. So just to give you an idea, like at the moment I'm making a blanket that I've seen online. It's by Nautic Crochet, and so she's just recently made a blanket, and her pattern is available on her website. and she's used a tweed yarn. I think she's using, I did try to source exactly that yarn for myself because I loved it. I wanted to make the exact blanket that she made, but that yarn is, I think it's from the UK or US. I think it's a US yarn. But to ship it over here, it's just, there's no way I can do it. I think it was like, to make the blanket, would have cost me about $288 just for the yarn to get it shipped over here. So yes, no, I'm not doing that. So I've actually found a very similar yarn, which is, because the yarn that she's used in there has got a tweed. I don't know if you can see that on there. So they're plain colours, but then they've got like a fleck through them. And I'm not really sure if it's showing up on the camera properly. Yeah, so like that's a green, a sage green, and then it's got like little dark grey flecks in it. And then the sort of powder blue one there has got some browny flecks in it of tweedy, sort of a tweed, yeah. Oh, you can see it, I guess you can see it there. See on that strand there, the yellow, and that's got like a brown fleck running through it. And so all the colours that I've chosen have that. So I looked around, researched what yarn could I use that is a little bit more economical for me, but still wool, because I like to work with wool, but you can do the same thing with acrylic. I'll show you an example of an acrylic one in a moment that you can get. And so the wool that I'm using is this one, Cleckheaton Country. It's 85% Australian wool, 10% acrylic and 5% viscose, but it's made in Australia. And where is it made? In Bendigo. Yeah. Okay, so Cleckheaton is an Australian brand. And so they have got this Cleckheaton Country Naturals, which is a tweed. And so I found that online, and then I started to look around for where I could find the best price, really. And yeah, there was lots of different places online that sell this wool. I think even our big stores, Spotlight, or I'm not sure if Spotlight sells this one, or Lincraft, but it was about $8 a ball, something between $8.50, something like that, a ball. So I found a shop in Melbourne. I think it's called Rosie's Yarn Store. I'll pop the name in later when I'm doing my editing. So yes, I ordered these online from that shop, and I think she had them for just over $6 a ball, or on $6 a ball. So for me, that was a lot cheaper, because then the whole blanket, I can't remember how much I paid for all the wool, but it was under $100 for everything I needed for this blanket. So yeah, just always look around if you can online and see whether you can find the yarns that you actually love. So, all right, it's not the same as a hand-dyed yarn, but I think it's a beautiful yarn. And the pattern, there's instructions for all the different colours. I tried to match up all the colours that they had on, that they'd chosen, with colours that I could find. There's a few that are different, but I think once I finish it up, it'll look very similar, almost the same. The only difference is I think they are going to do, like on that pattern, they've done like a darker green border around this before they join all the squares, and I'm going to go for a more natural colour because that suits my decor. So I've got a tweed, I think it's called Tweed Natural, and it's sort of like a beigey off-white colour that I'm going to put around each square and then join them up. So as I progress with that, I will show you. But that's one of my projects I've been working on, and I just do a few squares a week and put them aside. I'm not going to just full-on do squares every day, because I'm interested in other things as well. Okay, so that's that one. And then I'm going to pop in some photos now here of a blanket that my daughter is making. So as you know, she came up to stay with me, or with us, I should say, over the holidays with her husband, and we dyed some wool together, and she made her cushion. She made a green one and a peach one for her home, And then after that, she went and bought some wool from some acrylic yarn from Spotlight, and she said, I want to make a blanket. So she's been making this blanket, and I was really surprised the other day. She sent me a photo of all her squares that she's made. She's probably made enough for a 1 metre by 1 metre square blanket. And the yarn that she's using is this one, Moda Vera Valley. Now I'll show you a blanket that I recently made. I'll have to check back through my videos to show you whether I've already shared that, but I made a granny square blanket out of this. And I also did one of my tutorials, I think it was the log cabin tutorial out of this yarn as well. So it's 100% acrylic, but it's got these beautiful colour changes in it. So it's a variegated yarn. As I said, it's from Spotlight stores here in Australia. I don't know what the full price is. I think it's around $9 a ball for 150 grams, but we just waited for the sale, and then they were, I think, 40% off. So yeah, we got them. She got them for a good price, and I did too. And so she's bought herself some of these, and I think these are the colours. When I pop in the photo, these are the exact colours that she's using for her squares. So she's made that same Sunburst Granny Square, this same pattern. Sorry, grab it. This same design that I used for my sunflower cushion. And she's used that same pattern with this yarn, and then she's gone around each square in a cream, and it looks absolutely beautiful, and I think it looks just as nice as hand-dyed yarn. And it's an acrylic, so she can throw it in the washing machine, wash it, and not have to worry about, you know, felting it or shrinking it or anything like that. So that's what I wanted to show you today, is how we can make squares out of some different yarn that can be just as economical, or more economical actually, than, or more budget friendly than hand-dyed yarn. So, and then again, if you are from somewhere where you can't even have access to this, use whatever you've got, you know, yeah, just whatever yarn you have, you can make something beautiful out of that with some little bit of imagination. We can do anything. All right, so I'm going to be doing that. I'll do that last on this video. I'll pop that in last because I just wanted to chat about a few other things that I've been making. So I did show you these, I think I did show you these project bags that I made. So that's my Crochet Cavalier. That was just all leftover little bits of my hand-dyed yarn that I used for different projects. And I made a couple of different project bags. I have a crochet group that comes here on a Monday. I've taught some ladies how to crochet, and now they've sort of advanced over the last couple of months making their own projects. And so just as a little thank you and a gift for giving me the opportunity to be able to teach them and, you know, have some interaction with them, I made them each one of these bags. So this one, these are mine actually, so they, you know, just like I wanted to make a matched set, so you can put your hooks in there, little notions and things, and then this one can be like, you know, an on-the-go, pop a little project in there, a shawl or a, you know, knitted project, crochet, whatever. Just to preempt any questions that are coming, no, I'm not selling them. I just made them for myself. And it's just my own, you know, corner to corner, single crochet moss stitch design. And then the lining, I got some lining in there with some zippers. And I used the tutorial from Jill at Gumleaf Crochet, Yarn and Crochet, Crochet and Yarn. Sorry, Jill, I'll pop it in again so you know who I'm talking about. She has a lovely tutorial of how to make the lining for these little zipper purses and project bags. So you can please go and watch her because she's much better at sewing than I am. I don't have the sewing skills that I should have. All right, and so that's another one. So now those were from my hand-dyed yarn. This one is from this Moda Vera Valley 8-ply, and I did the same one with that. So that one's in acrylic, and I lined that one with beautiful blue fabric that I got from Spotlight. Again, they had, you know, some little, I think they're called fat quarters that people use for quilting. You can buy little squares. They're about 30 centimetre squared or 12-inch squares. And I just used one of those to make the lining and a zipper. So probably cost-wise, you can buy, I think it was 20 for $10. So what would that work out? 50 cents per bag, and then a zip. It's just a couple of dollars, maybe $1.30. And a bit of yarn, which is not a lot for a little zipper purse. So, you know, under $5, I think you could make one of these. Yeah. And then that one was also my hand-dyed yarn. And then I've got another green one as well, which I haven't given away yet. Yeah, so the lining of that one, again, was just one of those fat quarters. I like this one because it had the little birds on it, little blue birds, and the flowers. That was pretty. All right, so I just use them. You can use them as a pencil case or a makeup case, but I made probably about 12 of them, and I gave some to the ladies that come for my crochet group and put my little wooden label on there, which I can't remember where I got those made, but they were off Etsy many years ago when I first started crocheting and selling things, but I don't sell anything now, just basically make things. Okay, so that's that, and what else was I going to show you? So the next project that I am working on is this blanket. Now this is taking me quite a long time. This is all my hand-dyed yarn. I dyed up a really big batch of yarn a few months ago, specifically for this project. So this is the Mosaic Marrakesh blanket by Bieber Blanket on YouTube. And she just popped up in my feed, and I just love the blanket that she made, but I am making it in my own colours and with my own hand-dyed yarn. And I think it even will look lovely if I just show you when it's laying down like that. Look at that. If I keep the tassels and have it as like a table runner, I could stop right there and have it as a table runner. But I do actually want to make the whole blanket because I just want to learn this technique of this mosaic crochet. So every row is separate. So you start from the right, if you're right-handed. Actually, I'm left-handed, but I crochet right-handed. So if you're a right-handed crocheter, you start from the right and you crochet to the left, and then you end that row, and then you come back to the right-hand side and start again with the next colour. So every row is an alternating colour, and a lot of it is back loop single crochet, and then every so often you'll do a double crochet that will extend, say for example, oops, sorry, I don't think that was even on camera, was it? Sorry, I'm going to say that again because I don't think I actually had the camera showing you what I was pointing at just then. So every row starts at the right, if you're a right-handed crocheter, and works all the way to the other end, and then you end off that row there. So there's only double crochets and single crochets. That's all the blanket is. So it's very easy. It does say it's a beginner-friendly pattern, and I believe it is. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say when you've been crocheting for a long time whether something is beginner-friendly. You do need to know the basic stitches. Single crochet, double crochet, half double crochet first before any project. But as I said, I've got these group of ladies that come here. They've only been coming for maybe 8 to 10 weeks now. They knew nothing, and now basically they could do this project. From what I've shown them, from the few stitches that they've learnt, they're already making bags, blankets, flowers, all sorts of things. They all have their own, taste in things that they want to work on, but they could do this blanket. So every second row is a different colour, and yeah, so I started off with this. I'm doing it again, I know. You start off with this tan colour here, and then the next row will be worked into the back loop in a different colour, alternating colour. And then the next row, you go back to your colour A again. So there's some single crochets worked into the back loop, and then you'll do some double crochets that extend down to the two rows below, so they join up with that same colour, and the same with that blue row there. All right, so it's a beautiful pattern. It's just, she does these does it all in sections. So I try to do one section a week. That's what I've been trying to do, and then there's an in between section there. So I've used a variegated yarn for the in between section because I've got quite a few balls of that one. I think it'll be enough for my blanket. And then the next section, and then the in between again, and then the next section. I really love this one. So she used, I think, a bright red here, but I don't have any red in my house. I don't decorate with red. I don't decorate with hot pink either, but I do like hot pink. So I just thought I'll use hot pink rather than red because I dyed that one up. And then, yeah, and then I love the purple as well. So that's as far as I've got now. I think that's section 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 5, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the in-between ones. So I'm up to section 6 now. And she's got a video tutorial for each section. So you just watch one video and that's section 1, and then you can come back and watch section 2. And then you watch the in-between one to do that first, so because that will repeat each time basically the same. Well, I don't know if the rest of the blanket will be the same pattern, but those first 2 were. And then there was a couple of rows of just like single crochet with that same yarn. And now I've just started working this same pattern again up here. So I'll pop in the link to her channel and you can have a look. I also did purchase her pattern. I think it was on, I don't remember if I purchased it on Ravelry or Etsy or from her website. I think I purchased it from Ravelry, just so I'd have a written pattern. I didn't find reading her pattern as easy without the videos, so I feel like you really do need to watch the videos. And she's very, very clear with her video tutorials, takes you each row of the section at a time, and so you can stop and start and just catch up. So she'll show you, like maybe that part of a section, and then she'll say, okay, continue with that pattern, and so you can continue with that. And then come back for the next row. And so the reason I'm not just focusing on this blanket and nothing else at the moment is that it requires a lot of concentration. Mostly crochet in the evening when my husband and I are sitting down relaxing or watching some bit of Netflix or TV. And I can't have the video playing while he's watching TV, so I have my headphones in and I can just stop and start and watch her a little bit and then keep going, then watch the next little bit. So I can, I can multitask. I can crochet, I can watch her video and watch a movie at the same time without disturbing anyone else. And yeah, I only need to see a little part of it and then I can keep going. I don't need to watch her do the whole row. So because it takes a lot of concentration though, it's not as relaxing as just crocheting without a pattern, which I mostly do because I just, I know how to, I can look at a pattern and know what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm doing just one section a week, and then, so this is going to be a very long-term project, but I think it will be beautiful and something completely different to what I've done before. And learning a new techniques. I have never done mosaic crochet before, but look at that. That even would look nice as a bag, wouldn't it? Really colourful crochet mosaic bag. But as I said, I could stop right now and it could be a table runner for this long table that I have. But yeah, a little bit bright colours for me out here. So that's one project I've been working on. The next project, which has been going now for about 6 months or a little bit longer, is that I'm working along doing the Year of Granny Squares. So this book is by Kylie Muleta. Anyone who's doing this crochet along would have heard of it, and maybe you've seen on Instagram or YouTube as well. 1 square a week to make either a blanket or some other project. And so Jenny from In My Spare Time Crochet is running the crochet along. So every week we make one square and then we send her the squares, and she posts a video or like a slideshow of the squares. So the book goes through, I won't show you everything in there, but the book goes through the 4 seasons. Started with spring. There was about 20 squares, I think, or 22 squares for spring. Then spring and then summer. And now we're in the autumn squares. And I think we're on square number 33 this week, which is that one, Bonfire. And so it's all the autumn colours. So these are the squares that I've done, not in any particular order, but I'll show them to you. There's quite a lot there. They've been a lot of fun to work, some of them a bit more challenging than others. And one square actually was a partial fail for me. I just couldn't get I couldn't do the pattern. Anyway, I'm just working on that week 33 one there. You can see all my ends I haven't finished yet. I am actually having a little bit of trouble with this one as well. I just can't seem to get the spacing here as neat as what it's showing in the book. And I need to get it done by tomorrow, so I'll probably have to work on that later today and get that done in time to send to Jenny. So that's that one. And then the summer colours. Yeah, there's just some lovely squares. Look at that with the flower. 3D one. I think this was one of my spring colours. That one was also spring. Just every square is a different pattern, and you're learning all different stitch techniques as well. So even if you don't do it as a crochet along, but just get the book, it's just a really great way to learn all different stitch techniques. You know, in here you've got like, I don't know if that's a popcorn or a bobble or a puff stitch. And then working in the back loop, doing single crochets, doing, you know, arches, and yeah, just really, really, really good way of learning different stitch techniques. And one little square a week is not too much to do, and then they just slowly add up. And I haven't blocked these yet. I've ironed a few of them, but I haven't blocked them. That one goes that way. That's also spring. I think that was the first square. Yeah, another one, summer. So these are all the summer ones. And then we got into the autumn colours. And spring. Which way does that go? That way? No, sorry, that's upside down. Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, I like doing those. Catherine Wheel, I think they're called. That was another one. This was actually, I didn't find this one too challenging. I think a few mentioned they found that challenging, just to get the spacing right and to get them to line up. But I actually really enjoyed that. Even though I don't really enjoy doing back post and front post stitching, I didn't mind that for some reason. Maybe because it was on an angle. It's another summer one. And summer. I mean, just look at the imagination that people have to make up these different patterns. That one goes that way, yeah, with the sun on it. I think that's also summer. That one is quite pretty, autumn one. And autumn. I mean, some of these look a bit more like winter colours to me, but that's the colours I've chosen, so I'm sticking with it. And then my winter colours are more like, I think, dark navy blue and white and grey, and yeah, sort of more. We don't have snow where we live, but I've sort of stuck with the snow colours that she had in her book. That's also an autumn one, and another summer one. That was beautiful. I like that. And I actually really like these as well, doing the 3 puff stitches together, making that kind of like a flower effect. And each square has a name. So this is the one that was a bit of a fail for me. There you go. So you're supposed to work these stitches in with the rows, but I must have pulled this out 2 or 3 times and I just couldn't get them to line up and to go straight. So I made the square and then I just embroidered the little sparks. I think it was called sparks I embroidered them on later. That was a bit of a cheat one for me, but anyway. I might go back and fix it later when we finished all the others. I like that one. That was beautiful. And that one was interesting. And that's the last one, which goes this way. Yeah. Anyway, so that's, yeah, spring, and then we had summer, and now we've got autumn, and that'll make a nice, beautiful big blanket when it's done. I haven't decided yet how I want to do them. I've sort of laid them out. I'll put a photo in and show you. I've sort of laid them out diagonally. So I think I might start with like the spring squares, sort of starting on a diagonal and going out, and then coming into summer, and then autumn, and then winter. And I may even join them. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I may even join them using like a spring colour and then a summer colour and then autumn. So it sort of flows from one season to the other, and then put a border around it using a combination of each of the season's colours. Yeah, once I lay them all out, I'll see, because I mean there are a lot of different colours there, and I don't know just how they're all going to coordinate and look good. And if they don't look good, then maybe I can make 4 bags out of them or something. We'll see. So that's the book, A Year of Granny Squares by Kylie Muleta, if anyone hasn't seen that and wishes to try it. So that's sort of once a week I do that. And what's next? So these I did start. This is just another project bag I had, and it was some of my hand-dyed yarn. And I did start making some of these squares. I was going to make a blanket. And I think when I started it, it was after I did my cushions, and I was a bit tired of doing this Sunburst Granny Square, so I stopped. But there's a whole heap of squares in there, and I've got more yarn, and yeah, I'll eventually make something out of that. So that's another one that's on the go on the side. And then what else have we got? So the next thing then is with my crochet group. So first I'll say this. My daughter lives in Sydney and went to an op shop or a thrift store, and she was looking for some wool because she wanted to make herself a blanket. So she also went to Spotlight and bought the Moda Vera Valley to make her blanket, but she just stopped into a thrift shop, charity store, op shop, whatever you want to call it, to look for some yarn, because I told her how I'd found that cardigan that I showed you, or that jacket, and pulled the yarn apart, and so she thought, I can do that too, and find some yarn and, maybe make something out of it. So the op shops that are near where she lives have a lot more lovely things than they do up here where we are. I haven't found any nice yarn up here. And so she went and she found all this yarn, and she found one of these Shapier's Whirls. Not this one in particular. This is one that I've had for many years. I just haven't used yet because I used to make shawls out of them, and I'm now in the mood for making shawls again. So she found one that had a darker blue. I'll pop a photo in. I'll show it to you. I've got it right here. She sent it to me for our 30th wedding anniversary, which is this month. So she bought all this yarn. She had a whole bag of it, maybe 30 balls, something like that. And when she went to pay for them, the lady said to her at the counter, we've got a discount today. Everything starting with the letter B is $10, whatever you get. If it starts with B, you can have the whole lot for $10. And so my daughter put, all the wool up on the counter, and she said, well, I've got this wool and yarn, acrylic wool and yarn. And the lady said to her, well, balls of yarn, balls of wool. So B for balls, and you can have them all for $10. So she bought a whole bag of wool, and one of them was a sheep's wool, which... she would have ended up paying 50 cents or $1 for. Now, if anyone has bought any of these in Australia, you know that they do not cost 50 cents or $1. When I bought this one, I think they were around $22, and I'm talking 10 years ago or more when I bought this. Now, then they went up to about $30. And now when I look online, they are anywhere between $40, $45 to $60 online in Australia to buy one of these. So for her to get it for 50 cents $1 I was just gobsmacked. And she said, Mum, I'm not going to use it because it's very fine yarn and I don't know what to do with it. So she said, you can have it. So she sent it to me, that was really exciting for me. And so I've made a shawl out of it, which I'll show you now. So this pattern is called I've put it on my Instagram, it's called Nemea, Nemea. It's by an Austrian designer by the name of Kleines Feines something. I can't remember. Sorry, but give me a second. So Kleines Feines Austria. I'll put the name in here. And so the designer made this beautiful shawl. It has lots of back post puffs and bubbles and these lovely different sections in it. So that's the shawl there. I'm going to put in a video that I took from my Instagram, and so you can see what it looks like all out. But yes, I used the sheep's wool that my daughter sent me to make this gorgeous shawl, which you can wear with jeans, and I think it will look lovely in the winter. Not that it gets very cold here, but because it's cotton, a cotton shawl is probably warm enough for us here in Queensland. And I first saw this shawl on a podcast by Gabriella Kren, Krenn. I'll also pop her YouTube link in here so you can go and have a look at hers. But she made it in a fade with pinks. Now, she didn't use the Sheppiers wool. She used a different, Sheppiers. She used a different yarn that they can get over there in Austria and Germany. I can't find that one here, and I couldn't even find something similar in the pinks. So I had this blue one from my daughter, and I thought I'd make that. So after I made that shawl, I was showing it to my crochet ladies that come here on a Monday, and they all said they would like to learn how to make a shawl. So I've been looking for a couple of patterns that are quite easy to make. And so then I remembered that I had this spare one here and another one that I bought these from Crochet Australia many years ago when they first had them, and I don't think they still stock them. But yeah, as I said, they are very expensive now. So when I got them, they weren't. And I'm going to make some shawls out of that. So, but the ladies that came, I tried to look up a couple of shawl patterns, free ones, and I found, well, I didn't find this one. I actually have made this shawl many times in the past. I just haven't done them for a while, maybe about the last 9 years I haven't made any. And many of you will know this if you are crocheters. It's called the Virus Shawl. It's a free pattern. There's lots of YouTube tutorials on it. There's a free pattern written up as well. And so what we did was we sat around, we all had some of this lovely yarn from Joanne of Spinning Yarn Weaving Tails, and I'm going to do mine in a colour blend. So I've started off with the darker yellow and a really light yellow. That's that section there. And after the next row, I will then start changing, you know, combining the two yellows and then a yellow and a light orange, orange and the light red, and then the dark reds. And I think I might even put a, you know, like a darker red like that, darker burgundy later on towards the end of it. So I will pop in a few photos of virus shawls that I've made in the past. I used to make a lot of them and sell them. I even made two in a very fine silver thread. One was for a bride. She wanted a shawl instead of a veil. And the other one was for, I think, someone that was a mother of a bride. I can't really remember now. It was it wasn't a young girl. It was an older lady that was going to a wedding or anniversary or something. So she liked that silver one as well, so I made one for her. And then I made some for friends. So I actually don't have any that I've made for myself, which I was surprised when I went to look for one the other day to show my ladies. I do have two, but I didn't make them for me. So I must have just made them and given them away to people. From what I remember, I think I did, and sold some of them. So, but it's a very simple pattern, and you start off just with a chain 10, and the pattern basically works back and forth like that. And to me, I don't know why it's called a virus shawl. I've never really found, I've heard people mention it, but to me, when I think of a virus, it's something that spreads. So I was thinking when I started making them that was, you know, because it starts off small and then it multiplies like a virus. Not a really nice name, is it? A virus shawl. But anyway, that's what it's called. So if you just type in, even in YouTube, virus shawl tutorial, you'll get a multitude of different videos for it. The one that I follow is Woolpedia. They have, I think it comes in 5 or 6 parts, and it's very, very easy to follow. So I actually just had my iPad out here and we watched the YouTube tutorial. I did download the printed pattern as well, but we just worked from the video, and the ladies found that quite easy because we could just stop it and start it and work on it together. So once I started making this, I thought, oh, I really feel like making shawls again now. So I worked on one more row. I think we got, in our lesson, we got up to about 1, 2, 3, the third section. And I did one more section, and then I started feeling a bit guilty because I thought I can work a lot faster because I've been doing it longer than my ladies who are just newer crocheters. And so then I thought, no, I'll stop. I won't do any more on this one. I will leave it for when they come next week, and I can just use it as a, I mean, I will finish the whole thing, but I'll use it as a demo, as a demonstration. So I'll work on it with them. So, but I felt I was in the mood for making a virus shawl, so I thought, what can I use? So years ago, one of the shawls that I made was, one of the virus shawls I made was for Joanne of Spinning Yarns, Weaving Tales. And she sent me this beautiful yarn that she had back then, which she doesn't sell anymore now, which I'm very, very sad about, and she knows that. And it was her Elements range, and it comes in this twisted merino, very, very fine lace weight merino. And so this one's got like reds and oranges in it, and then, you know, some brighter reds and darker reds. And yeah, I liked it when she sent it to me, and I made a shawl for her so that she would send me the wool and I'd make things for her to display at her markets, which I still, you know, have done that over the years. And so, but this was a virus shawl that I made out of this. And then once I washed it and blocked it, it was just absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I fell in love with it. And I thought I have to make myself one. But then I think by that time I was all shawled out because I'd made, you know, maybe 40 or 50 shawls for myself and for other people and for selling. And I'd had enough of shawls, so wanted to do something else. So she'd sent me another 2 skeins of this same colour. And I forgot about it. And I was telling the ladies the other day that this was my favourite out of all of them, even the wedding one. This one was my favourite, and I'd love to have that for myself. And then when I went and looked through my yarn stash, I had 2 more. I was so excited. Anyway, so I've started that, and this is it. This is how much I've done so far. I'll show you. Just let me grab it. And as I said, it doesn't look, you know, like anything much when you're working on it. Even the colours, it's pretty, but once I blocked it, and I'll show you a photo in here of what it looked like when I blocked it. And I took it down to the beach because I made this one and I made an orange one for my friend who passed away. She liked it, so I made her an orange one. And I took them down to the beach because I think I was working on them or wanted to take a photo of them. And there was 2 young girls walked past it, and I said to them, would you mind just modelling these shawls for me so I can take a photo for my Instagram page? And so they did. So I'll pop those photos in and you can see. But this one, I just was in love with it. Anyway, so that's the colours. That's how the colours work up. Hope the colouring in here is okay. It's a rainy day today, so I'm not getting good natural light in here. So yeah, it's got like reds and oranges in it. And once you wash it and block it and it stretches out, I can't really do that with one hand, but you'll see it in the photos anyway. It just looks amazing, really, really amazing. So I've always wanted to make one for myself, and now I will. And I'm in the mood for making shawls again. So yeah, that's that one. So it's Elements yarn. It's 4-ply, and it's merino, 100% merino. And I'm really sad that Joanne doesn't have this, but she did, when she had a clear out not that long ago, she did send me some different ones in different colours. So I've got a few that I can use. But yeah, I'm sad to use them up, but happy to use them up, if you know what I mean. All right, so the shawls that I made, I'll just show you quickly here. I made this one for my sister. She passed away about 8 years ago now. Well, coming up to 8 years in May. And she loved this blue. So you can see when you block it, look how much it stretches out. It actually opens, the lacework really, really opens up. And this beautiful cobalt blue colour. So she loved this and she wore it. And then sadly she passed away. And I even put some Swarovski crystal little beads on it, which I think I might do that on my orangey red one. So yeah, when my sister passed away, I kept the shawl. And then the other one I made was for my girlfriend, and it was in a really soft yarn, soft wool. And that was an orange one. So it's actually showing up lighter on here. It's a dark orange, like a dark mandarin orange, but on here it's showing up like an orange that you eat. But it's actually very, very dark orange. But again, you can see how the lace work just opens up. So I'll pop in some, as I said, I'll pop in some photos so you can see how they look when they're all spread out. But it's just a really beautiful pattern. And yeah, just very, very simple. Single crochet, double crochet and chains. That's all. If you've learnt those stitches and you watch this video, you can make this. Believe me, you can do it. So that's the virus shawls that I made in the past, and I'm making that red one. Okay. So just one more thing that I'm working on, which I'm not really thrilled with it at the moment, but anyway, it will work. So I think I showed you when I did a video on my doilies and things that I made years ago. I'd made this doily. I have this in my room on a dressing table that belonged to my mother. And that's it. I don't have a pattern for it. So I made this 30 years ago when we first got married. All right, so that's how old it is. You start with this one, you start in the middle in this row here, and you work, do you work down? I don't remember now. Yes, you do. You work down. So you start like that in the middle and you work that way. And then you stop and turn it around. You start in the middle and you work that way. And then the border, which is like, I think 2-row border there, you do afterwards around the outside. And so all these years now, I've been wanting to make this into a shawl pattern. So like that, but not that shape, but, you know, sort of that half of it into a shawl, but wider. And so I had another one of the Shapier's Whirls, and so I've been working on this, and I'd written the pattern, again, about 10 years ago when I made shawls. I wrote a few patterns. I've got a pattern on Ravelry. It's called the Tiffany Lace Shawl, if anyone wants to have a look at it. It's under my account, Crochet Cavalier. And that pattern is for sale on there. And then I've got another one that I made as well, which hasn't been as popular, but yeah, anyway, you can have a look at them if you want to. But I'd written 2 other patterns, 2 or 3, which I never published because then my father and my sister passed away and I just didn't have the head for doing anything further other than crocheting for myself. So that's when I stopped sort of selling crochet and doing anything else. But I've had these patterns written and I've had them, one of them I had printed out, ready to publish. And this one, I had it all written out. I had everything on my iPad and I can't find the chart that I made. I made the actual chart for it and I can't find it. It's somewhere in the house. I'll just have to keep looking until I find it. So basically what I've done to redo it is I've sat down, I've got I had half of it written up on my phone. And so I went through this last week and worked through the pattern. So pattern testing it myself at the moment. And I got to this size that it is now. And then I haven't written the rest of the pattern. And there was a couple of errors in there, so I've fixed them. So I've changed it a bit. So I've put that sort of design in it at the bottom there. And then if you can see, when you lift it, there's that rose. Can you kind of see that? Probably a bit hard. Maybe if I hold it up against, well, you can see, you know, it's a filet crochet. So there's the rose there. And then once I finish with the rose pattern, I'm going to put some more of these little butterfly, dragonfly, flower, whatever you call those, along the top of it. And so it'll grow bigger and bigger. I don't think I'll put another rose yet, I'm not sure. Anyway, so that's an ongoing project. So I did get probably about that much further on it. And then I realised I'd made a mistake and I didn't line up because above the rose has got this this section here with the V there. So that original V wasn't lining up with, so it should line up with this part of the rose here in the centre, and it wasn't lining up. It was out by about 2 stitches, and I probably got up to about there, and at the moment I've had to pull it back down to here. So that was a lot of work to line all that up and to do those. There's leaves on either side, and then I started doing that sort of little flower dragonfly design in the middle. Yeah, and then I realised, oh, there's something wrong here. It's not lining up, which will make it'll be a problem once I go to do the border and and whatever else. Yeah, it's not going to be centre. So I had to pull it all back, frog it all back to about there. And then I did another 2 rows, and then I was kind of sick of it after that. So anyway, it's folded, it's put away, and I will get back to it. So I think that's everything, all of my things that I'm working on at the moment. That's enough, isn't it? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 things that I've either working on or just finished. All right, so I'm going to stop this now, and I will be making now a couple of the Sunburst Granny Squares out of this yarn to show you how that looks. And yeah, sometimes it's just about colours and where you place them and what goes with what. And I think maybe I should do some in a plain colour as well. So, I mean, these are fairly plain. The tweed, got a bit of a fleck in it, but they can look just as pretty. And then if you put a light colour around it, or a white, or even like the actual blanket that I'm copying this one from, or following this one from, has a dark green border, if you like the winter colours. It can look just as beautiful as doing it with the hand-dyed yarn, which I'm sorry, I just can't sell at the moment. I don't have enough of it, and I just can't do it, sorry. But I want to give you some other options so that you'll still enjoy making things with yarn that you can source where you are. So whether that's in a shop, or from secondhand, or whether it's from clothing that, you know, has been handed down and you want to pull it apart and use the wool for that. Try and use your imagination a little bit of what you can make things out of. All right, so let's get into this tutorial now. Okay, so to see how to make these, I'm not going to do a whole demonstration of how to make these squares again because I've done, you know, 3 videos on that already, so you can go back and watch that. The technique, I'm just going to make them and show you how they look. All right, now remember from one of my previous videos, there's 2 different techniques to doing the middle. I'm going to do the standard one, all right, which is chain 3 and then doing 15 double crochets into the center. I'll just pop some music on this part so you can just work along if that's what you like doing while you're watching tutorials. So you got your 16 double crochets in the center, chain 1, and then we're going to make our little, I don't remember what I call them, did I call them puffs? Which is basically yarning over 3 times in and out until you've got 7 loops on your hook. And then yarning over and move through and doing a chain 1. And you're going to do 16 of those. This yarn I'm finding is a little bit thicker too, so the squares may be a little bit bigger. here, we'll work all of those stitches all the way around 16 and we'll come back. So there I've done the 16 puffs around, so 16 double crochets into a circle, 16 puffs, and you can already see the colours are starting to change. Greens into greys, and let's keep going now. We're going to do the next section, which is these sort of like leaves. All right, so we're going to do 16 of those. So we just chain 2, yarn over and go in, yarn over out, yarn over through 2, and we do that until you have 5 loops on your hook. 3, 4, and 5. So 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through, and chain 2. Yarn over in, yarn over out through 2, yarn over in, yarn over out through 2, yarn over in, yarn over out through 2, oops, and one more, yarn over in, yarn over out, yarn over through 2. You've got 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 5 and chain 2. As I said, if you go back to my sunflower cushion tutorial, you will find very nice slow instructions on how to make this square. All right, so we're going to do again 16 of these and then we'll come back. All right, I think I'm up to my last one now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then we chain 2 and slip stitch over that first leaf. And look at that, it's beautiful colour already. Starting off with a green and then like a brown coming through it, going back to the green. And then this ball is going to start getting purple through it as well, and an aqua and even a lime green colour. So after you make a few squares, you get that nice beautiful variation like I showed you in my daughter's square. All right, and our last row now, we chain 3 and we do 3 trebles and 3 doubles. Three half doubles, and 3 doubles. And then 3 trebles again. One of these days I will get myself a better stand to film. So that you're looking down on my hands and not across at them. I know that looks more professional when people do tutorials like that. But I just don't have that type of filming equipment at the moment. All right, so just keep working that same. So you've got 3 trebles, 3 double crochets, 3 half doubles, 3 doubles, 3 trebles on each side with a chain 2 in between. The 3 trebles there and the 3 trebles there. So keep working along and we'll come back when that square is finished. So there we have our first square using the Moda Vera, get it straight, Moda Vera Valley 8-ply acrylic from Spotlight. And that's that one there. All right, so the name of that one, I don't know if they've got names or just numbers. That one is, let me see if there's a name. No, it just says, King. It's called King, that one. So that one's King with the aquas and the purples, and the other one is called Swan. So that's the blue and pink with a bit of grey in it. All right, so there you've got an example of a variegated acrylic. This one is like a tweed wool. I'll put them side by side so you can see them. And then the other one was my hand-dyed yarn. I mean, you can see the difference in the size there. Look at that. That's the same. I've used the same hook, 4mm hook, and the wool is quite a bit smaller. You could fit another row of single crochets or half double crochets around this one to make it that size. So this, even though it's the same, it's 8-ply and this is 8-ply. The thicknesses vary, don't they? And this one is also a wool, but it's tweed. Again, it's smaller. It's probably the same, almost the same size as my 8-ply merino. Yeah. All right, so there's 3 different options. So just imagine those with a nice cream border around them. Not that I have these 3 together, but I'm just giving you an example of different yarns that you can use to make the same pattern and it could look equally as beautiful. All right, so I should make one plain one, shouldn't I? Just a plain colour, and you can see how that looks. So let's do that now. You know what? I'm going to use this fine yarn, the one I'm using for my virus shawl, and make a square out of this, just to show you can do some colour blending as well. If you really love the look of variegated yarns, but you don't have any, you can use 2 strands of 4-ply in plain colours and then blend them. Oh, what am I doing? Magic loop. Or you can use just a plain colour. That's it. If you want just a plain colour. Like that, but without the flex, and change each colour each row, or just have one colour all the way through. You can do that too. Whatever you like. But this, if you do colour blending, it sort of gives you a little bit of a feeling that you're using something more than just one solid colour. I'm a mess today here, aren't I? Just all over the place. So this is 2 strands of 2-ply, so it's like a 4-ply. If I used another strand in there, it would be the thickness of an 8-ply. Well, no, that would be 6-ply, wouldn't it? Anyway, Joanne said there are 2/3-ply. So you can use 2 strands, which is a bit thicker than 4-ply, or you can use 3, which is around the thickness of an 8-ply or a DK weight. All right, so I'll just go ahead and I'll make this square. I might change colours actually the next row. So let me just finish this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Just double check that again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. I counted one stitch twice. And 16. I'm going to change one of these colours out now. I might change out the red. And pop in a yellow, or this sort of orangey yellow for the next row. Okay, I'm just going to work on these little puffs, and I will be back at the end of this round to show you how it looks. So there you go, just by changing out one strand, whether that's, you know, two plies like I've done here, or 2 4-plies, or if you want a really bulky one, 2 8-plies, 2 lace weights, 2 fingering weights, 2 DK weights, you can get this lovely different variation of colours in there, the same as you would with a variegated yarn or a hand-dyed yarn. Anyway, that's really pretty, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to add in now, I'm going to get rid of the orange this time and add in the red. I thought there was a darker red. Did I have a darker one? Oh, yes, I did. Got that darker red. I think I might leave that for the last, but I'll add in this red now, back in again. And we'll do the next round and I'll come back and show you how that looks. Okay, so there you've got your next colour range, which is the orange, or the yellow, sorry, and sort of like a light cherry red. All right. I mean, with these, just with even these few 3 or 4 colours that I'm using, you can change it up. Like you could start off with a yellow in the middle, and then an orange, and then a red, and then a darker red. Or you can go the dark red in the middle and go backwards. Or, you know, you can change all of them around in different combinations and starting with different yarns so that you're getting that sort of variegated. But look at the variations in that. I mean, to me, that is just as pretty as my hand-dyed yarn one that I made. I mean, maybe that looks a bit more speckled when it's, I mean, but that's a moss stitch anyway. You know, it looks a bit more speckly there, but you're getting the same variation of colours just from 2 very plain colours put together. Yeah, what do you think? Do you like that sort of look? I like it. I think I could make a whole blanket out of that. Let's add our last colour in for this square. We'll cut out the yellowy orange one. The thing I like about this really fine yarn too is it goes a long way. So when you combine it, 2 colours together or do some colour blending, you're getting a lot of variation and usage out of one little ball. All right, so we're going to add in this darker red now. I'm going to work that last row and I'll come back and show you how we're going. Okay, that's the finished square using the 2 strands of 2/3 ply. So it's like a 4 to 6 ply for the thickness of this one. and just changing out one colour for each row and adding in another one. So I mean, you don't have to do like colours that even blend. You could use completely different colours and 2 of each, and that will give you that nice graduation or variation in colours. That last one looks, it's actually 2 different reds, but it looks probably a bit more solid, doesn't it? So maybe even a darker red would be better for that row. But yeah, as I said, you can start with a dark in the middle and change them around. So each square is slightly different, and that would make a beautiful cushion or blanket as well. So that one is a cotton wool blend. That one is the wool tweed. And what did I say that was? It wasn't 100% wool, was it? It was 85% Australian wool, 10% acrylic, 5% viscose. All right, so that's that one. Yeah, so cotton wool blend, cotton and wool blend, not cotton wool. That's also a wool blend with acrylic. And then that's 100% merino in my hand-dyed yarn. It's about the same size as that one. So yeah, that the 2 3-plies are about the same size as these 2 squares. And then you've got the 100% acrylic one, which is slightly bigger because it's a thicker yarn. So you've got 4 different variations there, and they each look lovely, I think. What do you think? Let me know. So this wasn't so much a video on the technique of how to make these Sunburst Granny Squares, because I have done a few tutorials on that, and there's plenty of others on YouTube. It's more about being able to use different yarns and get the same sort of beautiful variation of colours. So please let me know in the comments what you think of these, which one is your favourite, which one do you think that you would use to make. I mean, this one I think is even nice just on its own, and making a whole lot of squares with different colours like that and then sewing them together with no sort of, you know, white border or something around it. Or you could make them in black, like a black border would look nice. That one will have like a natural sort of colour around it. That one I think I would probably just leave as it is, and that one I would put a white border around. Just to, I think when you see my daughter's one, you'll see what I mean, but it actually makes these colours just absolutely pop with a white or off-white border around it. All right, so that's just my video for today. Just a bit of chit-chat about what I've been working on. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please come again and like, subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching my channel and for all your support and your beautiful comments. I really appreciate it. There was one more thing I was going to add into this video. I might just add it in on the end. It was to do with, at the very beginning of all my videos, when I pop in my sort of introduction, there is one part in there, and I've had a few people commenting on this aqua blue table doily that I was making and whether I can do a tutorial with that. So I'll pop in a photo of that as well. And I just wanted to let you know that it's not my pattern, so I can't really do a tutorial on it. It is a paid pattern. I do know that it is a pattern that I bought. Again, I don't remember if it was on Ravelry or where I bought it from. Most of the time I see things on Instagram and then I just look for where that pattern is sold. But the account on Instagram is called Periwinkle Crochet. And she makes those beautiful doilies. I even made a couple of bath mats from some patterns of hers as well. So yes, I will see if I can find the name of that pattern and pop it in here. And Periwinkle Crochet. If you want to make that, you'll have to go to her account and have a look. And maybe, I'm not sure, I don't know whether she actually has a YouTube video or tutorial for it. So I don't feel right if I've purchased a pattern making a tutorial on someone else's pattern. That's really up to them if they want to do that. Not without their permission anyway. So yeah, I can't really make that with you to show you, if you understand what I mean. Okay, well, bye for now, and thank you for coming back and watching, and I'll see you next time. And just one last thing I wanted to say. I hope this has been interesting enough, me just chatting about what I've been making. I feel like if I do too much of that, it's a bit like show and tell, and just showing you what I've made, which I don't know whether that interests anyone or not. But if it gives you some ideas of some things that you can make, then I'm happy that I've done it. But please let me know if that's not something that you want to see regularly, or if you're just happy to just watch tutorials. But yeah, I like talking about the different yarns that we can use too, because I think not everyone has access to the same yarns, not everyone has the same budget or the same resources where they live. So if we can try and, think of different ways that everyone can be included, by just using what they can find. And as I said, my daughter found a whole lot of plain coloured acrylic yarn and wool from a thrift shop. She's took it home and washed it. I'll pop in a photo of how she washed it up and hung it up in her back garden and on a line. And then she's skeined it up and she's going to make, I think she's making beanies out of the plain colours, but she might make a blanket or something else out of it too. So wherever you live, whichever part of the world you live in, I hope that you can find something that will make you feel happy, some nice bright colours or whatever you can find